and fellow senators. I don't believe it's wholly inappropriate that the grandson of John Patrick Gleason and Mary Ellen Talon, whose families came from Ireland, settled in America in the 1920s, rises today to speak on behalf of a great statesman in regard to many particular issues, whether his forthright love of students and the ability to be educated, or the opportunity that he undertook in his fatherland in Ireland when he worked on the Good Friday Accord for peace in his fatherland. I'll never forget the morning in November of 1960 when my grandparents were rejoicing that that young Kennedy boy had won. It happened on the front porch of my parents' home, along with 9 other Gleason sons and daughters. It was a great celebration for our family, and I think for the nation as a whole, particularly those of Irish descent and Catholic faith. It was such a benchmark. Only a few years ago, Senator Kennedy was in East Lansing here over at Michigan State University on, once again, one of his famous campaign swings. I had a great occasion to meet with him in the back anteroom, and we were talking about our families coming from Ireland and how much it meant to keep that faith and that family strength together in these difficult times. I had the occasion to meet him, not the extent that Senator Barsha did, but he came to Flint on a regular basis during the 1960 campaign, and my grandparents thought it was important that we attend that, and so did my parents and my aunts and uncles as well. But when you look what he decided, no one could match his eloquence, and few tried to match his efforts. There wasn't a division between the rich and the poor. And in many regards, when you look at his personal situation, there was conflict because he came from a very affluent and well-positioned and tremendously influential family. Yet those he worked for and those he spoke out on behalf of were in more troubling situations. I think the greatest trait that Senator Kennedy gave all of us, and many in this room ran for office and at the local levels, the chambers here today, and at the other side of the Capitol, and many local and community halls today are represented by people that were inspired by Ted Kennedy and his brothers. He lived the life of a true American and a son of immigrants as well. Many people understand that George Bernard Shaw wrote the famous play My Fair Lady. And over the past several decades, the Kennedy family was renowned for quoting from George Bernard Shaw. Edward Kennedy thought it was important that we live the words of George Bernard Shaw. And that was that some men see things as they are and say why, and other men see things that never were and ask why not. Whether it was his work to make sure that the children in this nation and this state were insured, whether it was ensured that there was equality based upon race or ethnicity, he was always at the forefront. So I would ask at this particular time that the chamber, all those that were inspired to run for office, and all those that shared his ideals and his ideas, that we take a moment of silence for a truly legendary American who will live long after his service to this country. If we could have a moment of silence on behalf of a great American, a great human rights, and a great champion of equality. Mr. President, I ask that we could have a moment of silence.
If all members, staff, and guests in the gallery would please rise for a moment of silence in memory of Senator Edward Kennedy.